So I got a question for you about the Commanders.
Hmm.
Does Sam Howell play this season?
Ooh, see, I've been hearing a lot of rumblings and grumblings, and to me, the only way he plays if Carson Wentz royally screws up. I mean, he just plays like poo poo.
So what you're really saying there in subtext is you expect Taylor Heineke to get traded.
Yes, I if I was Martin Mayhew, I would have traded him during the draft to get more picks later on, like maybe the third round or even the fourth round. Try to get some more picks for Heineke. Even though that, like, yeah, he is. I mean, he's a proven backup. He's not a starter. If he thinks he is, that's great. But unfortunately, his skill set is limited, and he can win you 3 to 4 games. I mean, he's not like, he's not horrible. So he can win you 3 to 4 games. So and as you, and when you, and as you say, like, you need quarterbacks during the season. If you don't know what's going to happen if someone gets injured, and you need a reliable backup, and he's a reliable backup.
Yeah, no doubt. He is. And Tolu at Dark Meat Hook on Twitter, follow us at the Talking Hats on Twitter. Tolu hit us up at the Talking Hats saying that no team is going to trade for Heineke because they know, first of all, that the Commanders need to get rid of him. And secondly, that he's not worth a draft pick. But I disagree with that because he's on a team friendly contract. And if you need a backup quarterback, why would you not give up a sixth or seventh for him? And every season, the quarterback goes down early on, sometimes in the preseason and sometimes in the first couple of weeks. And that's going to happen because it happens every year. And at that point, when that happens, some team will be reaching out about Heineke because he's worth it. Like I said, you bring him in, you don't have to worry about a cap hit. His contract is nothing. You give up a nothing pick, and you get a solid quarterback in return. I definitely think he's worth that, and I definitely think he's going to get traded. So I agree with you that Howell is going to play this season because Wentz, he puts himself in dangerous situations, running around like a chicken with his head cut off, and he gets hurt. So Howell will be out there on the field, and if Howell sees the field, Howell's not giving that job up. So that's a hot take. I think Howell is going to do all it takes to be prepared that when he gets his shot, he's going to run with it. And then they won't have to re-sign Carson Wentz to deal with this nonsense anymore. Let's go.
Yeah. So you're all in it for Howell.
Not really. I mean, I'm not like, it's not like I'm predicting him to be like amazing or great or anything. I just think that I think he has a fire in him. And I think that, like I said, I think he's going to put himself in position that when he gets a shot, and it's when, not if, that when he gets a shot, he's going to go out there and not crap the bed. He's going to go out there and play steady enough that he's gonna cause a discussion in the building. They're going to say this guy is solid. You said Carson Wentz is not a game manager. He's not, but that's what they need him to be. I think Sam Howell put himself in the position to be that, and then they'll have to think about: should we stay with this steady hand, or should we go back to the wild card? And you know, from there we'll see what happens.
Because he went to North Carolina, right? If I remember correctly. So him and Dyami Brown played together, and they're saying, is this a trend where you draft a quarterback and you draft his wide receiver, or you draft the wide receiver, you draft the quarterback if he falls to you because they have that rapport with one another?
Well, you see that in Philly, you see it in Miami, you see it in Cincinnati.
Right.
It's happening all over the place. So I don't know if it is a trend. Maybe it should be.
And it kind of makes sense, though, right? That 1 year in North Carolina, Howell had all his weapons. That's why he was posting numbers like he was projected to be like the #1 quarterback that year if he came out because of his team.
Yeah.
The year after that, when everybody graduated, went to the NFL, he had nobody, and he had a struggling offensive line. So, I mean, of course, his numbers are going to struggle, and he didn't have the productivity, and that's why he fell to where he is now, where the Commanders drafted him. But I also feel that they may have got the gem of the quarterbacking thing, who is kind of ready, even though Kenny Pickett and all of them are talking about.
You know who I think is going to be the surprise of this quarterback class?
Who?
Matt Corral.
Oh,
I think he's in the best position of all the rookie quarterbacks to go out there and take a job right away.
Okay.
Because I also tweeted out that if you have Sam Darnold as your starting quarterback, it's what's known as aggressively taking. You're not just tanking at that point. You're not even just trying to take at that point. You're aggressively tanking because Sam Darnold stinks. Matt Corral, he said he has a chip on his shoulder. I love to hear stuff like that. I think he's going to go in there. I think he's going to play so well in the preseason that when the regular season comes around, it's not even going to be a discussion of who their starter is. I think he's going to dominate the offseason and go out there and take that job.
So you think the Carolina Panthers are going to finally have their quarterback?
Again, I'm not saying that he's great. I'm just saying he's the best they have right now.
Got it.
There has been talk that they might bring Cam back. If that happens, then it's over. Cam is not going to squander this opportunity if he gets another shot.
Right.
I don't really see that happening, though. So I expect Matt Corral to be their starter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, because when you relate it back to Sam Howell, like if all things work out well if Heinicke does get traded, Howell ain't gonna, he's not gonna relinquish that job. I mean, he has that mentality that I'm gonna win, and that's the kind of mentality that you need to be in this league, that once you give him the opportunity, you cannot squander it away, because as the NFL states, it stands for it's not for long. So if you're not producing, they'll get someone else to come in. And Carson Wentz, I mean, he doesn't care. In all honesty, Howell was like, what, a 5th round or 6th round pick?
Late, yeah.
He was a late round pick. So Carson is going to go there, be Carson. But if Carson does things that upsets the coaching staff, and knowing Ron Rivera, he will pull that hook very quickly in a game.
He's going to do stuff that makes them scratch their heads. That's just who he is. That's who he always has been. And in Philly, he crumbled under the pressure of having a rookie behind him. But that rookie was drafted in the 2nd round. Right. Howell should not be a threat to him at all. If he goes out there and plays like nervous, like he's got a guy behind him, that shows what you've got in him, and that's nothing. And you don't re-sign him at that point. There's, no question.
Yeah, I guess, if I had to say, will he play? I will say sometime, but is it going to be this year? Time will tell. If Carson gets some niggling injury and he has to go off or something, and if the best situation is Howell, by all means, you have to play him.
Yep. So we can wrap up the Commanders talk here with that. Next up, we've got the Broncos schedule. We'll get into that, and we're going to take a quick break here. Talking Hats. We'll be right back. We're the Talking Hats, and we're back from the break here. We're going to get into the Denver Broncos schedule breakdown here. We're going to pick our top 5 games and then give our little opinions on where they're going to finish up to. So I'm going to lead off. My number 5 game that I'm looking forward to from the Broncos this season is against the Arizona Cardinals. Just because there's so much hype around them, Kyler's trying to get a contract. It should be a big game. It's later in the season. Both teams will probably be in position where they're fighting for a playoff spot or at least seeding at that point. And going into that game, I expect the Broncos to thoroughly dominate the Cardinals. I think the Cardinals stink. I think Kyler Murray is not that good. Everybody knows my opinion if you've listened to our show of him. I think they're going to bring the heat. They're going to pressure him into several mistakes. They're just going to take care of business. I don't expect that game to be close. They're going to take that game. That's my number 5 game. My number 4 game is against San Fran. I meant to include that in my Commanders breakdown too, but it spaced my mind for some reason. But that's going to be a big game. Shanahan, he's got the roots here in Colorado. I don't know that he ever coached under his dad, but he at least grew up here. I know he went to school here. He may have been born here. We were born on the exact same day, December 14, 1979. But that game's out there in San Fran. Denver's going to go out there. It's still going to have some weighing on his heart, being a Broncos fan growing up. That's tough to predict. San Fran is going to be good, even with Trey Lance, and they'll probably end up keeping Garoppolo. Who knows who's going to be starting? Injuries happen here and there, but that's going to be a tough game. San Fran's going to be a tough team. They're going to be right back in it. Debo or not, looks like Debo is staying though. That'll be tough. It's a primetime game, Sunday Night Football. I might pick. This is blasphemy. I might pick San Fran in that game. That's the number 4 game I'm looking forward to though. Then late in the season, you've got a matchup. Oh man, a couple of big ones late, but I'll go with this one as my number 3 team, the Baltimore Ravens at Baltimore. You get to see Russell Wilson versus Lamar Jackson. That'll be a highly entertaining game too. On the road, Broncos will win it. I'll pick the Broncos there to win that one in week 13 against Baltimore. The number 2 game that I'm looking forward to is week 1. Russell Wilson. I didn't pick it as number one because the Seahawks are going to stink. There probably won't be that good of a game. You got Drew Lock versus or Geno Smith versus Russell Wilson. It's out there in Seattle. It's the primetime Monday Night Football, first Monday Night Football game. It'll be the second game, I believe. It's 6:15 Mountain. That's 8. No, that should be the first game then. Okay. This season, I think I saw that they're doing 2 games in week 2 for Monday Night Football. Is that right?
So. Yeah, I think so.
That's right.
I think
and then just one in week 1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so either way, it's Monday Night Football. It's prime time. The Broncos, I don't know what the line will be. The lines are already out. I expect it to be a double-digit line. Whatever it is, the Broncos are going to cover. They're going to destroy the Seahawks. Just absolute destruction. The number one game I'm looking forward to. I didn't put either Raiders game, even though those are going to be huge, and I'm definitely looking forward to them. But my number one, because this is going to be for something, the Chargers and Broncos in the last game of the season. That's going to be a mega game. The Broncos will win it, but that'll be a big game. And Herbert versus Wilson, that'll be a big one. I'm looking forward to that one. Number one.
So we have similarities in our picks, but it's the order. I think is for me is the first week 3 against the 49ers, as you stated. For me, that's going to be the number one thing because it's going to kind of have like a proving point for the Denver Broncos right out of the gate. Because against the Texans,
the first 2, those aren't going to show you anything.
Yeah, the Seahawks and the thing, okay, they're going to blow across the Seahawks. They're going to roll over but when they get to the 49ers, that's when there's going to be some like toughness. It's going to see how they can adjust to each other. My biggest one is the Raiders. They're going to to Vegas, and they're playing Derek Carr with that revamped offense. Mm-hmm. Yep. So it's going to be very interesting to see. It's going to be a shootout, and I'm picking Denver to win that game because of Russell Wilson and just by the defense alone. But it's going to be a very close game. It's going to come to the last drive, and I think if Denver has the ball in their hands, they'll win the game. But if Raiders have the ball, they can win the game too. So it's going to be a seesaw. But in my gut, I think Denver can pull it off. My third one is week 6 against the Chargers. And yes, because now you're going up against equally matched teams almost in a way. And to see Herbert versus Russell Wilson.
I might have to go out there for that game.
You should. But it's in San Diego though, so you would have to fly out.
I love San Diego. Oh no,
it's on Monday.
Dang it, it's not in San Diego. It's in LA.
Wait, they're LA Chargers now. Oh.
In my mind, I was thinking I might have to go out there because I was thinking San Diego. See, why? It's 3 years now. It's time to get over it. I gotta let it go.
But it's hard though, dude. For 20-some years, they're San Diego, and then all of a sudden, 3 years into it,
and I went there for 3 years for games. So I mean, that's in my mind. So
right, yeah. Okay, so against the LA Chargers, it's so weird saying it too, but
it doesn't make sense. They need to move back.
Yeah, because the thing is like the first 6 weeks to the 7 weeks kind of positions Denver and to see what their playoff seeding is going to be because right now, I think in all honesty, they do have a target on their back because of Russell Wilson.
No question.
So all the teams that we're stating, they want a piece of that. They want to say, we can beat this team and we want to make sure that we can come out on top. So that's my third. I said 3, right? San Diego. Yeah. Raiders. Yeah. And 49. Okay, that's 3. I agree with you on the Ravens on week 13 because they'll position themselves to see where the playoff standings are at that point. If they're going to be a wild card or an automatic in, but to go against Lamar Jackson and they traded Hollywood Brown, so I don't know how much firepower the Ravens may have. I mean, they're not the same Ravens as before, but they have a very good defense, so it's going to be a very good matchup. And then my last game, got to be the Chiefs, because I want the Denver Broncos to shut up that entire fan base. I'm tired of them walking around thinking that there's some hot stuff, that they do all these cutesy plays and everything. I just want them to go into Arrowhead, or actually they're coming here. So they're coming to Denver. So when they come to Denver, I want them to shut them up because over the last few years, they have gotten too noisy. Like, you know, when some fan bases have thinking that they walk on water and nothing can go wrong and they're this up, that's the Kansas City Chiefs in a way. I mean, yes, I understand they're a very good team, but sometimes be nice about, like, Green Bay fans. They're really nice, I've heard. They're really, really nice. So they'll make fun of you, but then buy you a beer. Mm-hmm. or a bratwurst or something, you know. Yeah. But I just think that offense itself, I'm not a very, like, I don't like cutesy offenses. Like having one player go up Tyreek Hill. Well, there's no more Tyreek Hill, so so it's almost like, and it gets frustrating too because you know you can stop it, but you can't, and that's what causes a good team. But they just need to shut them up, and I think Denver can do that. And that's my last one because it's on the cusp of like playoff seedings, the finalized towards the end. It's a December game, so it's always important.
Predictions on their record:
11-6.
Yeah, I think they'll win the division. I'm going to put them at 13-4.
Oh, that's not bad. Okay, 13-4. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because if you go through their schedule, dude, in all honesty, it's not a cakewalk, but they can easily pull out 13.
Yeah, and I don't really see 4 losses on their schedule, but you know, injuries happen here and there. I'm just leaving some room for that. Anything can happen in that regard. But looking through the schedule, division games can go either way, of course. The Raiders might take one, the Chargers might take one, you know, they'll split those. I don't see Kansas City beating them either time. And after that, you know, who knows what can happen in the rest of these games.
Yeah. It's like this, like when they'll lose to the Jets, like they'll win every other game, but they'll lose to the Jets
or the
like
Texans or somebody
or the Texans. Yeah. So it's almost like you're bound to lose one of these gimme games. So it's like, and they have and I think it's going to be the Raiders and Broncos neck and neck. I think it's going to be the good old days back in the good old days where that rivalry, besides, because Kansas City and Oakland back in the good old days used to be the rival, but when Oakland came to Denver, that was, oh boy, that was a whole different kind of thing. So
yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Broncos are 13-4 and then the Raiders are 12-5. You know, there battling each other for that division. And then the Chargers, they're getting a lot of hype going into the season. I still don't think. I think they're missing something to just be that team that gets over the top. They might squeak in with the wild card, but they're not going to be contention for the division. I'd be shocked if that happened. Just with the Raiders and Broncos being so good, and then the Chiefs will finish last in the division because they lost. They're not the same team.
No, I mean they have like the other guy. What was his name?
Mecole Hardman.
Yeah, he's not a Tyreek Hill. So, but I would say this: I think Cincinnati showed the blueprint how to beat them. Like if you look at the second half, they showed the blueprint how to contain Tyreek Hill. So, I mean, as we all know, the NFL is a copycat league. So all they have to do is kind of look at the film and adjust their defense to do that, or kind of have some sort of shade of defense to that. And, you know, let's see what happens. But man, 12, for some reason, I'm excited actually to see like this year, because it's almost like the picks that we envisioned each team making, they made those correct picks. And we have to see now what can they do with it. On the Commander side of things, are they going to be a heavy run team leaning on that and then going to the pass, or are they going to be pass happy and go for the run? And for Denver, what is Russell going to do? Like, is he going to do Russell-esque things, or is he going to follow the playbook?
Well, I think the playbook will be for him to do Russell-esque things. You know, they've got 3 top-tier receivers. They can very easily be a spread-out offense and just let him just air it out. Their running game is also solid. They brought back Melvin Gordon in the backfield. Melvin, it's Gordon. Ingram is the linebacker.
Okay, good. Okay, that's right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, Gordon is running back. Yeah, old San Diego Charger, right?
Yeah. They brought him back on a 1-year deal, and they've got Williams back there with him too. So they're going to be solid on both. They'll be balanced on offense, and then I expect their defense to be, as good as it always is. So they'll be a very balanced team overall. And I think, you know, they'll be able to handle business in a tough division. Like you said with the Commanders, they did what they needed to do. They needed a quarterback. They got something there. Who knows what? They got at least a spot filler for now. Maybe he'll surprise everybody and play well. They took care of, they at least addressed the needs. So.
Right. Yeah. Side note, did Eddie play with Melvin Gordon? No, right?
No.
I don't think so. Yeah. Why who was their running back when he played in San Diego? I don't know why I was thinking Melvin Gordon for all this
time. They had a guy, his name is escaping me, but he played there for a couple of years and then he went to Philly. I can't pull his name right now.
It's not Smallwood or anything. No, it can't be. No, that's just.
I think Danny Woodhead was also on that team, but he was just a pass catcher. Yeah. He was the pass catcher too. But they had another guy, Ryan something, at running back.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why I was seeing like I was like, why would he even play? Because I was like, yeah, I just don't remember. But anywho, here nor there. I guess that's the end of this segment.
Yeah, that's it for that segment. We're going to switch gears completely again, getting into some NBA playoff action coming up next. Talking Hats will be right back. We're the Talking Hats, and we're back from the break here. We're going to jump into some NBA playoff action. We're going to lead things off with the Heat making short work of the 76ers. And then I get into some James Harden commentary too there towards the end of that part. Harish, lead us off.
I've always been saying this. Doc Rivers, not a good coach in the playoffs, but this.
My bad.
No, sorry.
We are the Talking Hats, and we're going to get into some NBA playoff action here. We're going to lead things off with the Heat making short work of the 76ers. Harish, go ahead and kick things off.
Like I've always been stating, Doc Rivers, great coach, regular season. Don't know what happens to him in the playoffs. I honestly think it's the James Harden effect. James Harden, wherever he goes, the team does not advance. I mean, they just don't advance. I mean, like he tries everything. If he doesn't shoot, he passes, and they still lose. When he shoots, they still lose. So, and Embiid played his butt off. You have to give it to Embiid. I mean, with that orbital injury, it's there. But I think it's all about mental. Like it's that mentality. Like that's we always been saying. Like to have that Mamba mentality or have that killer instinct to go and say, we're not losing. I don't care. And I don't think the Philadelphia 76ers has that player to do that. Even though Embiid may be that player, but he doesn't command that. Like he doesn't command it. And to be his size, he needs to command it. Like how Jason Tatum kind of figured out his way in Boston, that needs to happen in Philly if they want to take that next step. And unfortunately, it's not going to happen if they don't have that, or they have to play some sort of like team ball, team kind of defense, team kind of mentality. It's not there. Something's missing that I just don't know what it is. Like those are my takes, but I just can't figure it out. They have the talent. The coach is good. I like Doc Rivers. It's just that something's not clicking. And I just don't know what that is.
Yeah, Harden's getting all the blame, and I'm not sure how. I mean, yeah, he did not play well. He didn't step up at all. Fourth quarter took one shot. Third quarter, I think, took one shot. Ben Simmons could have done that. They could have just left the team. He scored the same amount of points as Ben Simmons. And I see that. He scored the same amount of points as Ben Simmons in the fourth quarter. Zero. So he's getting all the blame. Most of it is deserved, I suppose. Embiid could have done more too, but I'll give him some leeway because he was playing hurt. A lot of guys won't play hurt. I'll give him big props for actually doing it and showing up for his team. A lot of guys won't play due to hurt feelings. So at least he was out there battling through that, and at least he was there. Doc Rivers deserves some blame. I thought he might get fired and end up in LA, but they've already said he's coming back. Like it's locked in. He's coming back.
It's locked in.
So will they try to make a play for Beal here to get them over the top? I've heard those rumors. They need something. Harden, he's got a player option. If I'm them, I try to talk him into not signing that and let him go. That player option is for $47 million. The only reason he wouldn't sign that is because another team might give him a max deal. Other than that, he'll probably be back in Philly. And maybe he was hurt. Maybe he had some kind of injury that he was playing through. He was out of shape. Maybe he can come back and be Harden next season, or maybe time has caught up to him. Embiid was saying he's not that guy anymore. Embiid said in the exit interviews, he's not that guy. He just doesn't have it. And for your own teammate to say that,
That's
maybe that'll light the fire. I don't see them ever getting over the top. I thought not getting the MVP will fire Embiid up and make him go out there and just, be a killer.
Dominate.
But the opposite happened. He didn't play well after the announcement, and then they ended up getting bounced here by the Heat. We're talking about the Sixers. The Heat deserve a lot of credit, though. Extremely well coached, as I've always said. I didn't respect their roster. I got to start respecting it now. They're in the Eastern Conference Finals. Oladipo's playing well off the bench. Hero is stepping up. They benched Duncan Robinson, and that's paying off. Bam Adebayo, everybody, the team is playing well. Even without Lowry being there, this is a team to be reckoned with. And Milwaukee will have their hands full with them in that next round there. That's my prediction. But you mentioned something I wanted to touch on and get your opinion on it too. I think there's maybe 3 guys in the league right now that have that Mamba mentality, that killer instinct. I can name, there might be more, but for me, there are 3 that stand out. I want to get your thoughts on that. If you can think of three or more right now at the top of your head, guys that are just killers, stone cold killers. You can count on them in any situation to be there to carry their team when needed.
So I have to go with my homeboy Jason Tatum from Boston. He has proven it. He kind of realized that, and that's why Boston is in the position that they're in. Number 2 has to be Ja Morant. He, with his injury or whatever, he still goes out and puts his body on the line day in and day out. Yes, they got crushed by the Golden State Warriors, but I think the series would have been different if he played that one game he had to sit out in because of that knee injury. And the 3rd has to be the Joker. He takes over games. How could you not say that he doesn't have Mamba mentality? He alone can change a game. And he's a pass first center, which is surprisingly crazy. But when that time comes, that 5 to 2 to 5 minute span that you need to score, he does it for you. He doesn't care. He doesn't do it. He just gets it done, goes back, plays defense, goes back. That's why those 3, in my opinion, top flight.
And I didn't put the Joker on my list because they haven't advanced far enough in the playoffs. I actually think I wouldn't put him there now, but I actually think next season, having a little bit of help, he will be that guy at the end that puts them over the top in some big games. And I expect them to be in the Western Conference Finals healthy next year. So my top 3 right now, though, and I didn't put Ja Morant there because to be there for me, you got to be there. And he hasn't been there. He's been hurt a lot. He missed a lot of games this past season, and he missed the most important games of the season. And if he plays in those games, they go to Game 7 if he's there for them. He wasn't though, and I can't give him a killer mentality, killer Mamba instinct if he's not there. He wasn't there. So my 3 guys are Giannis, proven it time and time again. He's proven it even in this playoffs without Middleton. That's a shell of a team right now they're not healthy. And they're still right there. And I think they'll win Game 7 because of him. Number 2, like you said, Tatum. And that didn't happen. It didn't happen until the second half of this season when he finally realized that he's that guy. He's the dude. He finally realized it. And in the playoffs, he's played that way the entire time. So that's my number 2. Number 3, Luka. Luka is a savage. That dude, who else on the Mavericks matters? What is this team without him? He is, talk about carrying a team. He has Dallas on his back, the whole city, just carrying him through the playoffs. He's a murderer. He's a killer. He's a savage on the basketball court. He's the most talented player in the league. He's just, he's so good. He's great. That's my top 3 killers in the league right now.
Yeah, I'm going to change my answer from Ja Morant to Luka Doncic.
Yeah. they are right there. They have every chance to win Game 7 because of him.
Yeah. Oh, hands down. And I'm still going to go with Jason. I think the Celtics can pull it off in Game 7 because of the only reason why I'm saying it is because Middleton's not playing. He's not playing. If Middleton was playing, I would have picked Milwaukee to go to the Eastern Conference Finals. I would not even thought of that because the right Holiday is playing well. Everybody's playing well, and you just need that one extra individual, and that's what they're missing. And that was Middleton. So it's going to be fun, man.
Yeah. What are your predictions on Game 7 in that series, Dallas versus Phoenix? What do you see?
I'm taking Dallas. Phoenix with Kevin. Chris Paul has been struggling in the last few games. Even he struggled in Game 6.
Yeah,
and
might just be exhausted because he had to carry him in the previous series.
And Devin Booker, he's still not healthy. I just feel that something still, even though he's scoring, there's something not like you can see something's not wiggling right with him.
I actually think he's healthy. I just think he hasn't become that killer yet.
Really? Okay. But
and
I just feel that
if they win Game 7, he's gonna have to be that. That will have to be his emergence because Luka's coming. So Devin Booker has to to step up and be the guy.
Yep, and I feel that that's in it's going to be played in Phoenix, right?
Yeah.
But something tells me that Dallas is on a roll, and when a team is on a roll, it's very difficult to beat. And unfortunately, if Booker, as you state, if he doesn't come to play and he doesn't do what he has to do, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's not going to be the same. It may even be a blowout, bro. It may just be a blowout.
And Phoenix's team is solid. They're top to bottom. That's a solid team. But you need a guy in a Game 7. Devin Booker has to be the guy. I don't care how anybody else plays. I don't care if Ayton has a game of his life. They lose the game if Booker doesn't have the game of his life.
Yep.
That has to happen. Not Chris Paul, not Crowder, not Crowder, Bridges, anybody else. It has to be Booker for them to win the game.
Yep.
All right. Predictions on the other Game 7. Boston, Milwaukee.
Boston. I picked them to go all the way to the East to the finals because they found their way. They found their way. So it's Boston all the way.
And I'm with Milwaukee. I'm riding them all the way. I picked them in Golden State. Even though Golden State struggled, they still got past Memphis. I still think that'll be the finals matchup, Golden State and Milwaukee.
Oh, really?
I think Milwaukee, that'll be either whichever team plays the Heat. I said before that it would be a cakewalk. It will not be. If Milwaukee's healthy, that's different. But if it's Giannis versus Miami, then that's a tough series. Boston versus Miami, that's a tough series. But I still pick either one of those teams over Miami.
Right.
I respect them, but not that much.
What about the West? Since who's Golden State playing in the? Oh, it's the winner between Dallas and Phoenix, then, right? Yep. Okay.
And then I pick Golden State against either one.
Yeah, I think that's a fair bet. I think I have to eat my words because I did not foresee them going. I picked Memphis, and I did not see that stuff happening to Memphis, but unfortunately it did. So Golden State, I think it's going to be Golden State versus Boston in the finals.
And then who wins?
Ooh, I'll say Boston will have another championship after. I think they have that thing. I think it's going to be Boston.
I've got to disagree with you. I picked Golden State in the beginning of the season. I bet them in the beginning of the season. I put the bet on them. Riding that out, I think they're gonna, and I think this is it for them. This iteration of the Warriors, I think they're gonna look different next season. Don't know what that all entails. Maybe Clay will want out. Maybe something's gonna be different with that team next season. So I think this is the end of their run, and they're gonna end it with the championship.
Okay.
Last thing to touch on with the NBA here, Nikola Jokic wins the MVP for the second straight season. A lot of